Good evening, or good morning, wherever you may be. Seems like there's a lot been going on, but it's only the second one of these videos we've done this week, and it's day 13 of the 17 days of quantum. It is one of the topics, I believe they're all important, but this one, to me, is one that's very liberating, and also one that requires a lot of humility at times to break out of a lot of the conditionings that we've maintained. The topic is awareness. And I'll go into that in just a moment. Just to remind you, this is the 17 days of quantum, and for those listening first time, this is an opportunity to, I suppose, deep dive in and understand what it is that we're all about, what we stand for, what it is that we present, where we provide a platform of navigation, not wisdom, that enables you to become independent and find your own truth. If what we say resonates with you, you'll be empowered in your own space to be able to make a decision to move forward in your way. I'm not looking to convince, just to share and expose what it is that we're about. So that can all be done by inquiring with us, but I'm sure you can all work through that. Let's get to the point. The point being awareness. One of the things that I've come to learn is, I remember growing up being told a lot about thinking. I've come to understand that thinking is something, as I observe myself in many different pursuits in life, is when people said they were going to think, they didn't really do much. There was this idea that thinking brought about great wisdom. But to me, what I've come to learn of thinking is that thinking is the opposite of action, that we're either in a state of action and expression and creativity through that space, or we're thinking. Thinking is the opposite of action. Thinking mostly causes us to find reasons why we can't do, why we won't. Thinking is something that we go and search outwardly for. But what I want to share in regards to now is awareness. Awareness is about the ability to be able to receive information. Is the ability to be able to have something that is conflicting and inconvenient that exists presented to you in a way that opposes what you currently understand, what you currently believe. To be able to sit and reference and have resilience, to be able to hear something that doesn't integrate or hasn't yet integrated with you, requires us to have a level of patience and wisdom. And more often than not, when we have an inconvenient awareness, most of us deny it, most of us react to it, most of us become triggered by it. The capacity to be able to not just have an awareness, but to be able to listen to it and to understand it in a deep level of recognition, to hear the wholeness of that awareness that's being presented to you, and to understand it to such a degree that you can then action it, is what causes us to change our life, is what causes us to find difference. For many of us, when we're not acting through awareness, we're acting through thinking and repeating what we've done many times before. For many of us, when we have an awareness, we look to deny that. But I would suggest to you one particular action that may assist in the very moments of when we have an awareness, is to first step into being grateful for the awareness. Not grateful for the awareness itself, but be grateful for the fact that you can even have an awareness. Because for many of us, we're not even aware of our own misgivings. For some of us, we're not even aware of how it is that we rub people up, how it is that we present ourselves. And for many of us to recognize that we're not such a loving person, we're not as compassionate as we may think that we are, is an opportunity to see more in what we are. It's not a judgment of ourselves. If we're able to see things within ourselves that may not be embraced initially, is the very recognition that we're seeking to expand ourselves more. The individual that doesn't want to grow is not going to recognize compromises that they hold within their own self, because there'd be no intention to change that. They would have no ambition to grow, to expand in any particular way. So they would become complacent, accepting of the current status quo. When we have an awareness, we have a capacity to act upon it if we choose. But for many of us, we do not get first caught up in understanding it, but more so reacting to it. So when you do have an awareness, if you allow yourself just to sit and be grateful for the very fact that you can do that, it allows you a space to then start to consider from a place that's not of reaction, but of understanding, seeking understanding. It's everything that we have in our life that conflicts us, that restricts us and holds us back, is because we don't currently understand it. When we come to a place of understanding, we can then empower ourselves to move through it. Until that particular point, we're relying upon someone else's interpretation of what it is that's going on. And sometimes that other person is who we were in our past. Awareness is the ability to be able to take in the fullness of any moment. Our ability to stop and consider that without the consequences, without the need to consider what we have to let go of, what we have to release, what we have to compromise or sacrifice if we would accept this new awareness, what we may have to humble ourselves to. Our very resilience and ability to navigate that requires us to see in that particular moment how we can action and move forward that new awareness and why it is that it's come into our life. I would suggest to you that everything that exists goes through 3 simple steps. First, there is an awareness, then there is an expression of that awareness, and then there is completion. All forms of life follow these steps, from the way that a tree grows to the way we interact with others. The problem is for most of us that we do not complete. We have an awareness, we express ourselves, but we remain incomplete in that expression. We allow ourselves to eventually become overrun, overwhelmed by the amount of incomplete projects we have in our own life, because we don't have the capacity or even audacity at times to complete what it is that we started. Our ability to be open and to be aware requires us, first of all, to sit in an integrated state. When we are integrated, and what I mean by integrated, that we're at peace, we're at ease within our own self. It's the oneness that exists between the physical and the energetic operating as one. For many of us, we might consider that to be called confidence, certainty. But there's a peace that arises when what we are is working together in a singular expression. And in that particular moment, we can entertain an awareness because our intention is that we're all working together in one stream, in one form, towards one outcome. When we are in a state of disintegration, what we find is that we start to do more things like thinking. Thinking becomes a habit. Consider how many times of a day that you might say, I'm going to think about that. What is it that you actually do? Is there any deliberate response? Is there any deliberate accountability or outcome that you're seeking? Is it just simply a way of avoiding change or taking action? Is it a convenience? Might have seen that bird jumping in the water then. But is it a convenience? We are either thinking or we're acting. Our ability to become aware in each and every moment is our choice to take action and move beyond that. What is the awarenesses that you have in each and every moment? How inconvenient are they? And what is it that you have within yourself to be able to navigate yourself through those? To navigate yourself into a place that is of your own creation. for each of us, our awareness is key. What it presents to us and defines within us is what courage we have to act upon it. Everything exists around us is changing consistently and constantly. We only become overwhelmed in our life when we choose not to change, and we are then forced to, because the environment and the people within it are moving forward, but we are not. We're attached and holding on because we're not allowing our awarenesses to be expressed. Awareness can be seen in many different ways, but as I said at the beginning, the most important part of awareness is to first become grateful for the fact you can have it, because when you do, you will stop judging, you will stop deflecting, dismissing the very nature of your wisdom. And in that particular place, rather than reacting, you'll start to discover an understanding as to why that awareness is coming into your space, so therefore you can act upon it and bring it to life. One of the most courageous things that I'm aware of is that when people create something from nothing, from a thought that arises, to create something that hasn't existed. So many of us are living a life where we are focused upon fixing other people's problems, where we are reconstructing what already exists, making marginal changes rather than significant ones, because we're working in a structure that is already there. True creativity must come from a state of integrated awareness, and then our capacity to be able to follow that through to completion. Anyway, this is day 13 of the 17 days of quantum from Lake Weber in Noosa. I hope you're all great wherever you may be. Sit with your awareness. How often do you allow yourself to act upon it? How often is your awareness denied inconvenience to ensure that others are supported in their awareness rather than yours? How many people are looking to you for leadership, but you're not allowing your awareness to lead you? Thank you very much for sharing. Thank you very much for being and listening. If there's any questions on awareness, by all means, post them. But until we meet again on the inside, enjoy you.